Welcome back to the station. Welcome back to the channel. Y'all know who it is, your boy Ray G. You can find me on X at RayGQ. Football is back. We are here. Preseason football kicked off last night. So we're back. No more weeks without football. And there's still plenty of people out there participating in best ball drafts. You still got Dynasty startup drafts, rookie drafts, whatever it may be, whatever you got going on. There's still a lot of things that we could talk through to help you make decisions for fantasy football 2025. And I want to talk through three specific situations today and some excitement and enthusiasm, potentially concern for the pass catchers in these offenses. The Kansas City Chiefs, there's already rumor and pending reports that Rashee Rice looking at between 4 to 6 games for his suspension. So what does that really mean for Xavier Worthy? We're hearing about these other players in the offense. People still don't want to draft that Travis Kelce. I want to look at LAC. Ladd McConkey's injury. They bring in Keenan Allen. Sean Slater's hurt. What's that mean for that offense? And then finally, I want to take a look at Indianapolis. We saw them on TV last night, and despite the quarterback situation, Tyler Warren was involved early and often. But listen, I just want to look at how these teams utilized these pass catchers last season and try to project that. Not what I think Tyler Warren deserves or how good Xavier Worthy's prospect profile was. What they were asked to do and how that projects next year. We're just going to look at some of those situations. We're not going to pull up any advanced stats. We're using Trinity, and we're using damn game logs at ESPN. I appreciate you being here. Subscribe to the channel. We got a lot of dope stuff coming over here. DDFFB as we get into the season. Dynasty deal show, the best. If you want trades answered from some of the best minds, you got to become a member of the channel. Scott Connor and I, Destination Chill, every other Sunday night, and more dope stuff on the way. But let's pull it up. Let's talk about these situations, and let's start with the team that was on TV last night, the Indianapolis Colts, and in particular, Tyler Warren. All right, Tyler Warren, picked high, athletic, Penn State, caught a lot of passes. None of that matters. Let's look at what Daniel Jones did last year, and let's just look at this Indianapolis offense and really think about where he could plug in. What's that mean? And are we out over our skis, or is it appropriately priced? Especially we're talking about seasonal leagues. Dynasty has a whole nother story, right? Yes, he's high. Doesn't matter with it. Talking about in 2025. So Daniel Jones, he didn't play the whole season. Got hurt, played weeks 1 through 10. And when you just look at how he uses pass catchers, weeks 1 through 10, Malik Neighbors, right? He was doing his thing. 8.37. This is elite usage. You see the dot past the band. And for those of you who may be pulling up for the first time, this score is derived from a combinations of advanced metrics like yards per route run, first downs per route run, targets per route run, air yard share, whole bunch of stuff put together, tested, boom, you get the dots. Malik Neighbors, the primary guy right here. 8.37, incredible, giving us about 17 points per game during that time period. And then I was actually surprised to see 2 more dots inside of the wide receiver 3 band during that time period. Both of them very low. Darius Slayton below the regression line, which means for other players who were doing this much type of stuff, they were outproducing him. He was below the median level. 9.5 fantasy points per game, 5.7 score. Then you had Wan'Dale a little closer to standard. He was getting you close to 11 fantasy points per game, 5.73 usage. So you could see both of those guys were utilized in similar ways, but Wan'Dale did more with his usage than Darius Slayton. And then after that, Theo Johnson, rookie tight end, way back there. Jalen Hyatt. People are like, oh, it's Greg Dulcich. He's not even on the team. And then you get down to the Jalen Hyatts and the Bellingers, way back there, weeks 1 through 10. So just looking at what Daniel Jones, in quotes, supported, Malik Neighbors, no doubt about it, right? He was the man. And then you got some usable weeks. No one played Darius Slayton. Best ball, he probably gave you a little bit. And then Wan'Dale Robinson. Nothing great, just they're there, and they're not going to give you a 0. So let's just go to Indianapolis. I don't even want, we'll look at the same time span. Let's look at the same time span, weeks 1 through 10 for the Indianapolis Colts, okay? And this was, this had to have been some Anthony Richardson. We can go look at that. But here's the Indianapolis Colts, week 1 through 10, how their pass catchers, receivers, and tight ends were being used. You had Josh Downs at the top of that, 6.88, 14 points per game. That's solid. That's nice right there. You know, you start him every single week. There's your Michael Pittman down here. Dealing with injuries, whatever it may be, not scoring that much. 8.73 points on pretty good usage. 6.07, you want your receivers over that 5.5 range. He's in a nice little band to be a wide receiver too, but well below that line, which just, without looking at anything, lets me know, just looking at this chart, QB play, probably not very good. And then after that, you've got Alec Pierce. He's above the line, but that was due to some big boom weeks early. 4.89 usage. That's not great. After that, there's Adonai Mitchell way down below. So this is how Indianapolis utilized their pass catchers. And let's just filter this out for the whole season for the Colts. All right, whole season for the Colts. This is what the offense looked like. All right. I mean, Downs comes down. Pittman, 6.66. That's fantastic usage, but 10 points per game, well below expectation. Alec Pierce barely hugging the line. It was not good. And I can't put the full Giants season because Daniel Jones stopped playing in week 11 and beyond, but it's Malik Neighbors, it was Wan'Dale Robinson, and nothing else there. And again, it's just layer them on top of each other weeks 1 through 10 and just kind of look at this. You've got Neighbors, who would be that version of Downs. So there's your top two guys. And then this just kind of nasty smattering of players here. So let's just remove the Giants and focus on the Indianapolis Colts because this is where the enthusiasm for Tyler Warren exists. You don't see a tight end anywhere in the picture. It goes down to Adonai Mitchell. All the tight ends were back here. They were all sorry. This is why everyone knew they needed a tight end, all three of them. They just weren't even used. When you're back here below 2, 1.3, 1.15, this has got to be Will Mallory, Ashton Doolin, point. You're just not even you're not involved in the offense whatsoever. So when you see that, it's like, this was clearly a need that they had to address. But where does Warren fit in? Where does Warren fit in? Even Daniel Jones, when he was playing, and I don't want to say at his best, but when he was playing, you remove Indianapolis. Let's just say this player's Josh Downs. Let's say it's Michael Pittman. At Malik Neighbors is Michael Pittman for the Colts. Then you're going to have Wan'Dale Robinson as the Josh Downs or vice versa. So you're banking that Daniel Jones is able to give Tyler Warren, right, if he's the starter, 5.7 type usage, and Tyler Warren's skill set's going to elevate him above what Darius Slayton did with that. And I know you're projecting and you're picking up. I know the offenses are different. You're going from Shane Steichen to Brian Daboll to Shane Steichen, but this is what Daniel Jones was able to do in New York. Now, you could say there's a better rushing attack in Indianapolis with Jonathan Taylor. Absolutely. Ray, I don't think, he's not going to have a Neighbors, so he's going to have to spread the ball around a little bit more. Maybe. I think my conclusion is I'm excited for Tyler Warren. I think Tyler Warren is going to be very good. I was not worried about the landing spot, but this is still probably not going to be a high volume passing offense. They're probably not throwing the ball 600 times in the Indianapolis Colts offense. So not only are you banking on all of these players to be efficient, somebody's going to suffer. Let's just look at the tight ends. I just want to take this off, and before we move on to Kansas City, move the wide receivers off of here. Here are the tight ends. Let's try to peg Tyler Warren in one of these spots. That's Trey McBride, 7.64, number one highest utilized tight end. You've got Brock Bowers right here, 6.88, George Kittle. Those are your top three. Pretty much every draft and redraft, those are your top three tight ends, McBride, Bowers, and Kittle, and there's the usage to sort of coincide with that. There's Travis Kelce. We'll talk about Kelce in a minute. I think he's a little slept on this year. But the fourth most used tight end. He had 133 targets last year. I know he did bare minimum with it. He got you by. You're used to seeing Travis Kelce above that line, and that's why that fantasy impact didn't feel that good. Sixes, I don't think I can put McBride in there. Is he in this range? He's at best, he's in this band. The Njoku, what Jonnu did, Dallas Goedert, Hunter Henry, Dalton Kincaid type usage. If he's used like Kincaid, you're hoping he produces upwards of Smith, 12 fantasy points per game. Njoku, 13 fantasy points per game. The point is, when you really start looking at the skill set of the player and then just the usage of the offense, it really kind of level sets some stuff. So excited for Tyler Warren, especially in Dynasty. I mean, you got to feel good. You've got to feel real good. Even if it's just one preseason game, his involvement, and it seemed like their priority to see what they had in him, that makes you feel really good. Think you should feel good as well in seasonal leagues, but temper the expectations a little bit, and I am Tyler Warren truther 101, but still very cautious unless you tell me he's just going to overtake Josh Downs. He's going to overtake Josh Downs, and it's going to run through Michael Pittman and Tyler Warren. And it's easy to say that today, but it was Pittman, Downs, and Alec Pierce who weren't on the field and playing for Indy yesterday. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is a player. It has a player that I've talked about a lot. Very excited for his year two development and growth, as I was for a player that we see on the screen. I was very bullish on Rashee Rice. Loved him going into last year, and it's really unfortunate he got hurt because he was a Trinity buy from last year. Anybody who followed the series, we were tracking Rice all throughout the season and even talked about buying him going into the 2024 season. So to have both of these players on the same team, I'm really excited. Two guys that I'm kind of trusting the Trinity on. So check it out. This is Kansas City 2024. So you still see DeAndre Hopkins up here. Hollywood's on here. This is the usage for the Chiefs last year. You had Rashee Rice at the top, and this would have been even higher, but he played, unfortunately, in the game, and it dinged him. It's a per-game thing. He would have been way up here. If we just filtered this week's one, I just want to do it so you can see. Weeks 1 through 3 for Kansas City last year. I mean, look at it. It just makes this chart look crazy. I mean, he's a 9.02. So he was going to be the poster child for this entire tool, but unfortunately he gets hurt. Here's the score. Here's the distribution. Still by far and away on a per game basis, per route stuff, he was the highest utilized Kansas City Chief in 2024. You got Hollywood Brown right there, 6.84 when he was on the field, very limited sample size. Travis Kelce, we talked about him a little bit with the tight ends. Excellent usage. He's just old, right? Like you're accepting that floor with Kelce, but he's probably going to go out there and get another 120 plus targets again. DeAndre Hopkins no longer on the team, so there's some opportunity vacant here. And then you have Xavier Worthy. Following that, I think that's Noah Gray. So desperation tight end in Noah Gray. But we're going to focus on Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice, and I'm going to try to do this quick. I'm going to break this down into segments. If Rashee Rice misses time, what I'm fully expecting to happen is what happened towards the back half of the season. So to start the year out, just going to take this in. I really look at this thing in subsets of 4, like just the first month of the season. What's it look like by that halfway point? And then how are they closing out the season? So that first month, I mean, it was Rice and then it was nobody else. Like when you see dots below the line, the quarterback play is not well. Like nobody was really being utilized and it was below the median level. You have a dot right here. And that was Xavier Worthy. This is not counting in any kind of rushing stuff. It's all wide receiver stuff. So 4.4 still wasn't utilized more than Hopkins, Kelce, any of those guys. But when he got opportunity, look how high above the line he was. He produced very well. So then let's just take this weeks 5 through 9. After Rashee Rice is gone, Kansas City Chiefs, they've got an entirely different team. And it was Travis Kelce. Weeks 5 through 9, 7.2. This is why I still want Kelce. I mean, he's still capable of giving you some nice weeks. So from weeks 5 through 9, it was Travis Kelce, DeAndre Hopkins, Juju Smith-Schuster, Xavier Worthy took a step back, actually. After those first 4 weeks, weeks 5 through 9, his usage went down, still above the line, 7.48 points per game. So there was a lull. So if we just look at weeks 1 through 9 in total for the Chiefs, here's how it shook out. This is probably what they wanted to do from the start, right? You got Rashee Rice at the top, Travis Kelce moving up. Down here, you've got Nuke Hopkins, and there's your best ball, big play kind of guy, Xavier Worthy. So now let's go weeks 10, and we'll go through week 14. Week 10 through 14. Let's just see what happens inside this Kansas City Chiefs offense again. I mean, they're using Hopkins, right? They're using him. He's giving you 11.4 points per game, but he's falling below. So He's being utilized, and let's just look up what Hopkins was doing. Let's look up DeAndre Hopkins. Pull him up. Talking through the whole situation. We don't need anything, right? Except to see what the hell he did those weeks. So let's go to Hopkins game log. Where are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 previously acquired. So here he is. I mean, you can see there's a band of 9, 5, 4, just reading the targets, 6, 9, 9. 9 targets, 32 yards, and a touchdown. 9 for 90 is good. 6 for 35 in the touchdown. 4 for 29. 5 for 56. 9 for 86 and 2 was that was a day for Hopkins. But after that, I mean, it's 6 for 30, 4 for 37. So they were using Hopkins, but it wasn't yielding a lot of return. There's Xavier Worthy. All right, we ramped him back down. We need to pick him back up. Now he's got 5.0 score usage. Right around 9.5 fantasy points per game. And then let's round out how the Kansas City Chiefs used them, not even to the end of the regular season, but weeks 14 through 17, that's the fantasy playoffs, right? Going down the wire. Can't even see him up here, but there's Worthy. 6.0 usage. He was still used in a per route, per all that metric, a little less than Hollywood Brown, a little less than Travis Kelce, but look at the explosiveness. They see he's giving you 18 points per game during that time period. So if we subset this out and just look, weeks 10 through 17 for Kansas City. No Rashee Rice, none of that. Just weeks 10 through 17, Worthy plots. He plots at a 5.5. That's very good. He's inside that band, and he's overproducing. He's producing more than expected versus everybody else on his team. He's giving you more than Kelce. He's giving you more than DeAndre Hopkins, who's being utilized more. He's giving you more than Hollywood Brown. And then we know how Xavier Worthy progressed throughout the playoffs. So then if you just kind of go the fantasy playoffs, what's that, week 13 through 17, there he is. And when you look at Worthy, cool thing on the tool, we'll just look at his range of outcome for next year. Xavier Worthy, based on his full season, we're not gonna update it. Based on his full season's worth of usage, you're looking at a high-end outcome range of about 12.9 points per game based on his usage. His old Trinity 477 adjusted to a 526 because he was efficient with his usage. And if we filter from that week 10 to week 17, I won't even give him the last 4 weeks. We'll make it good but not outstanding for Xavier Worthy. If we just filter through, if in 2025 he is utilized in the exact same fashion that he was weeks 10 through 17 of last year, that would give him about a 5.51 Trinity score, good inside the bands, adjusted as a 6, which is good. And his point per game during that time was 13.8 points per game. On the high end, you're looking at Worthy at about 14.5 points per game. The usage would resemble Jalen McMillan in 2024, Keenan Allen in 2020, Hunter Renfrow in 2021. Medium range outcome, 50th percentile. You're looking at Tyler Lockett from 23, 10.9 fantasy point per game range. So this is bullish. This is bullish. And this doesn't account for anything that has happened around him. It doesn't account for how trusted he was as the Kansas City Chiefs were going through their Super Bowl run. This is just based on how he was used amongst this team. And this also excludes the DeAndre Hopkins. And I know they've got Tyquan Thornton and Jalen Royals, and I like those guys. This is a situation where I think both Worthy and we'll just look at Rice's range of outcome right now to see. I don't even know if I've looked at his in a while. Let's go Rashee Rice because it's just good. Weeks 1 through 17 for Rice. Here you go. Based on how he was used, Trinity 6.7 adjusted to 7.26. He was giving you 16 points per game. His high-end range, you're looking at 18 points per game, top 10 percentile of players over the last 5 years utilized in that fashion. So even higher than Worthy. This is an offense that you hear about in training camp, letting Mahomes open it up, doing this kind of thing, pushing the ball downfield. We know there's been a problem with Kansas City over the past couple of years, Mahomes not putting the ball downfield. But I truly believe with these weapons, with Kelce still there, which I think is a bigger deal for that offense than we in fantasy take it for. We think we take Kelce for granted, but 133 targets, you got to focus on him and score touchdowns. It does help out the outside wide receivers. This is one of those spots where I'm very much buying Xavier Worthy picking up right where he left off, especially if Rashee Rice is looking at early season suspension. Once Rice gets back, I fully expect him to assume that number 1 wide receiver role chair but this does feel like it's going to be a very good situation. I'm not going to go on the high end of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, but can it be a J-Mo Amon-Ra situation? I think absolutely in Kansas City. So I'm all in. I'm banking on that early season kind of big time production from Worthy, and then once Rice is back, it levels off a little bit, but still very much involved in the offense. All right, the last situation we'll quickly dive into. Keenan Allen is back. Keenan Allen is back, and this may be a little unfair because the problems may be bigger than just who's on the field to catch the ball, especially with the Rashawn Slater news. But let's pull it up and walk through it real quick. Keenan Allen, Ladd McConkey, Justin Herbert, and the Los Angeles Chargers. Here goes the usage chart for LAC last year, weeks 1 through 17. We don't even need to filter for weeks. I look at this chart right here, and this tells me they needed a wide receiver too, right? It's Ladd McConkey, big gap. Ladd McConkey, big gap. None of those guys inside. They needed another option, and this includes tight ends. Ladd McConkey was excellent. 7.5 usage, 15 points per game, right on the line. We know Herbert was dealing with injuries all year. He had no real number two next to him. Shout out to Quentin Johnston, his name being on here. If the player's name highlights, that means they scored over a 5. Quentin Johnston was way back there last year. Say what you want, he improved. He was way back there last year. Nobody wanted him. Josh Palmer is gone. We know he is no longer in the building, so there's opportunity right there. After that, who is this? This is Will Dissly still in the room. Hayden Hurst is gone. They got Tyler Conklin. He projects to be decided. They needed another body, and they brought in Keenan Allen. And a lot of people, he's old, yada, yada. Keenan Allen's still very good. When he was on the field, he was used more than any other of the receivers. 6.88, right at 13 fantasy points per game. There's DJ Moore, Romo Dunze down there, QJ, and Josh Palmer. I very much expect the Chargers' usage pattern to follow this pretty close. I expect it to follow exactly what you're looking at. Ladd leading the way, Keenan Allen with high usage and probably above that line. He'll have a better quarterback, but not in Ladd's range. It'll be back a little bit, but still very much useful and something that you want. Also, you've got DJ Moore right here occupying this role. There is no DJ Moore for the Chargers, or if you want to put Keenan Allen in that role, Keenan Allen is good. This was him at age 30, whatever, still out there leading Chicago in sort of wide receiver activities when he was on the field. Now, he didn't produce at that line, right? Some of that's the quarterback, some of that's him. But I fully expect this Los Angeles situation to be one where both Keenan Allen and Ladd McConkey continue to do what they do. And then Quentin Johnston, his role is probably going to be similar to what it was last year. Big downfield playmaker, boom bust type asset in fantasy football lineup league. You probably don't want him in best ball. I don't mind Quentin Johnston at all. So am I concerned for Ladd? Not really. I think this is where Ladd is. Let's just look at his range of outcome for next year based on his usage this year. Let's go Ladd McConkey. Let's see Ladd, 18.3. Let's go Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen on the high end, 15 point. That's probably, yeah. And that's top 10 percentile outcome based on that usage translating to the following season. So not worried about Ladd McConkey at all, and actually kind of bucking the tool when it comes to Romo Dunze, because I do think Rome will be one that outproduces his current projection. I just think he's going to have a role change that's not accounted for in here, but that is not what the tool says. It's not what the tool. Let me just pull it up. That ain't what the tool says. So I don't want anybody saying that the tool is saying Romo Dunze is going to be the superstar next year. That's just, the tool's saying he's right around 12.9 points per game, which is not what you want out of a first round pick. You know, that's based on his usage, but it doesn't account for the offensive coordinator. It doesn't account for any of that. I'm expecting a big flip for Romo Dunze. So there you go. No fancy graphics. No, none of that. I really just wanted to talk through those three situations, as there are three players who are kind of in the news, or at least their situations are in the news, with Tyler Warren in Indianapolis in the quarterback situation. You've got Keenan Allen in Los Angeles and Xavier Worthy potentially stepping up and assuming that high volume, high value wide receiver role with the suspension of Rashee Rice. Appreciate y'all being here. Subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up button, like the content. So much dope stuff between Dynasty Theory, Shane, Scott, Ty DeClaire, Brandon, and the Mailbag Show, All Gas Trade Show with Ty and Gabe. We appreciate y'all, man. We're going to have a great season here in 2025. Become a member of the channel. Go check out the Ray Garvin NFL channel, myself and Jay Rich. Follow us on all socials. Be easy, y'all. I'm out. Peace.